Dr. George Chastain may sound familiar as we featured him in our Heroes Among Us spotlight a year ago. Dr. Chastain worked at an orphanage taking care of Vietnamese babies. And just a few months later, our Quinlan Parker got a call from a woman who was taken in at that orphanage.
Yeah, Dr. Chastain and Lori Clavesco were then able to connect. As WALB News 10's Quinlan Parker reports, thanks to our story, Lori was able to learn more about her life in Vietnam and connect with others who had a similar beginning to life.
Dr. Charles Chastain took 3 years out of his training during post-grad at Emory to go into the Air Force, but little did he know his mission would change.
It was that story we aired March 28, 2024 of Air Force Flight Medical Officer Dr. George Chastain during our Heroes Among Us spotlight that Lori Clavesco, an orphan from the Viet Hoa orphanage, found online while doing some research to find out more about her history. Clavesco and her twin brother were found on the streets of Saigon just a few days after they were born. They were both adopted a year later in 1971 and brought to the U.S. and grew up in Ohio. But her adopted mother died when she was just 11.
My story died with her, and my father, his memory is not that good, so he didn't remember a lot of it, and really, I felt like my adoption was almost taboo, and we didn't talk about it as I was growing up.
But that didn't stop Lori. She was determined to find something that could help link her back to where it all began.
I saw your article, and it piqued my interest. And then I was wondering, wow, I wonder if this doctor actually took care of me.
But she said, I know something about that orphanage. And when she said, I know something about that orphanage, we talked, and the more we talked, the more we recognized we had a lot in common.
He was not there during that time, but knew a lot about the babies and the nuns who took care of her. Dr. Chastain at the time told us it was not what he gave the orphanage, but what they gave him, which is why when Lori reached out, it rekindled a very important part of his life.
What's nice to see is what's happened to some of the orphans. Watch how they've grown and become part of our society.
I wanted to connect with people who knew what I was like as a baby, or the orphanage, or had similar stories as me. I realized finding my biological parents wasn't as important as just knowing my past.
Well, Laurie just returned from visiting Vietnam with about 40 other adoptees with their friends and family.
All but one of the nuns are deceased, and that's Sister Augustine, who she was able to meet during her visit.